What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. This video we're going to be taking a look at two really high quality, unique devices from DockCase. And if you're familiar with their Explorer Edition, this is both of these. This is an SSD Enclosure, and this is their 6-in-1 USB hub. And obviously the unique thing you're seeing here is these here are transparent tech. Okay, so these super high quality. These are made from aluminum and tempered glass, and so they are just gorgeous when it comes to overall engineering and design. As you can see that this one happens to be the matte black finish for the 6-in-1 hub. And then if we take a look at the smart SSD enclosure, this one's actually a silver. I wouldn't call it glossy, but yeah, just a silver. Again, all aluminum tempered glass. Now what's unique about these also, as you can see, they're see-through, but they have a smart screen. These are LCD screens that basically give you all sorts of analytics of what's going on. Now on the 6-in-1 hub, it's an analytic by port. So it's going to tell you how much power might be going through one port, or how much data and size and stuff like that on like SD cards and stuff like that. Whereas the SSD enclosure is going to give you the SSD health and all sorts of little odds and ends that we'll take a look at. So not only are they cool from a see-through design aspect, but they're high quality, they're smart, and they're leading edge when it comes to what they can offer when you actually use them. And that's what you want, right? You don't want something that this looks good. You want something that's going to perform and be there for whatever use cases you want to throw at it. So let's dive in first to the 6-in-1 USB hub. I'll give you just a little bit of background on it. So these will work, all of these will work with Windows, Mac OS, iPad OS, Linux, Android, and Harmony, which is Huawei's OS that they developed once the US cut them off, basically, from using Android and stuff. So they developed their own system called Harmony. So it'll work with those. It'll also work with other things like PS5s. I don't know. Haven't tried it on like Android Dex. I'm assuming Android, since that's covered. Dex is part of that coverage also. But it's going to work with most things out there. So that's kind of a nice. So if we look at this here, the hub is a 6-in-1. This is the side that's really got all the ports. So we have a power delivery port here, a USB-C and HDMI port. So this port is 4K 60 Hertz available. This USB-C is actually there's two of these and a USB-A. They're 5 gigabit They're 5 gigabit ports, data ports, USB 3.2 Gen 2. That is a USB-A. The Ethernet happens to be a gigabit Ethernet. Nothing on this side. Then we have here a little D button, which is what you use to toggle the LCD screen. Another USB-C and another USB-A. And on this side is a USB-C, which basically is what you use to plug it in and go from there. Now, there is another version of this that has SD card support. I think it's an 11-in-1 that you can check out. And I'll have a link to all this in the show notes. The nice thing about this is a 100-watt power delivery, which is 20 volts, 5 amps. And these will also work for the Steam Deck, the Switch, the ROG Ally. I've tested all of those. And works for those. So if you're looking for a USB hub for any of those little handheld platforms, then this is beautiful. One other thing on the back, you can notice it looks like a heat sink. That's because these are heat sinks. They are alloy fins. It's a cooling cover, basically, right? It's a detachable design, as you can see here. I've got the cable. Don't lose this cable, folks, because the one that comes with it is 10 gigabit. If I can get this up here, 10 gig. Wait, focus. There you go. Don't lose that. Use another cable, you're not potentially going to get the 10 gigabit throughput. So don't lose the cable. When I say it's detachable, this means you don't have a cable that's always hanging there on some that you can't detach. This one here, stash and go, and you're good. Again, we've mentioned this transparent TAC LCD visual smart screen for each port's activity. So let's go ahead and take a look now at the SSD enclosure. Basically the same stuff. This is a 15 watt though Type C aux powered SSD, so that's kind of nice. This doesn't have to run off anything but the aux power. You get your D button over here, which again is your display toggling and control. And again, this is an all aluminum tempered glass design. One thing this version has is PLP has been increased to 10 seconds. What is PLP? It's power loss protection. So when you have an SSD card in here, if something happens where you pull the plug or something, this has now a 10-second buffer, right? So it's going to basically allow all the writes and everything to complete, and you're not going to have data loss. So that is what PLP does. It's power loss protection that lets the data continue to be written once power is killed. The first version of this only had a 5-second PLP, so that's nice that they've doubled that. The LCD screen is going to give you, again, the SSD health status, right, and some other information. You can only go up to 4 terabytes capacity, so if you're looking for a bigger SSD in here, 4 terabytes is its limit. It also is 3.2 Gen 2, which means you're going to get 10 gigabit throughput with this bad boy as well. And this has a supplied cable that also has a little adapter, so you can use it on Type A and Type C. That's kind of nice when they provide that. And something else you've got to know is the supported SSD length. This will support 2230s, 2242s, 2260s, and 2280s. Okay, and we're going to install this one here. This happens to be a Kingston Fury solid state drive, only a terabyte, and 7,300 megabytes per second millibits. So what does that length mean? It's height and width, right? So if you're ever wondering where you see all these different model numbers for these NVMe M2 SSDs, it's basically just the measurements of the height and the width. So you can basically get, what, 4 different types, sizes into this. And again, this works with Windows, Mac OS, iPad OS, Linux, Android, PS5, Chrome OS, and Harmony. So I think we covered everything that's on the box. As you can see here, you know, if you want the model number, there you go. Feel free if you want to copy that down. But the links in my show notes will take you right to the right version. And again, this is the Smart Portable SSD Enclosure. Again, 5 seconds, 10-second power loss protection. Already went over that. And intelligent display of SSD detailed health. All that good stuff. So here's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and we're going to tear this apart. And I'll come back in mid-install and basically show you how this baby comes apart, and we install the SSD, and then we're going to plug them in, and we're going to look at their put them through some speed tests and look at the LCD display and load them up and let you kind of see what the LCD is going to tell you, right? All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, I lied. We're going to put this Kingston drive in there, the 960 gigabyte. That Fury was actually not the right size. So again, remember I said that it has 4 specific sizes. So we're going to use the DC1000B from Kingston, who is sponsoring the storage piece of this video. And we're going to install theirs, which happens to be a 9980, or a 9980, a 2280 right here. M2 2280 PCIe NVMe. Okay, so again, I'd mentioned specific sizes. 2280 starts here. Then we got a 2260, 2242, and a 2230. I have taken off the alloy lid, heatsink basically. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to take our SSD, which is just a tiny little guy, and we're just going to insert it into this port, internal, and we're just going to push it in there, right, and give it just a little bit. And now they provide you with some screws, and you don't want to lose these guys. They're very, very small. So you got some washers and some screws. So we're just going to take those. I'm assuming that is going to be an extra washer. And then basically you're just going to put this washer over the screw, and then we're just going to fix. This will keep this SSD at bay because you don't want it popping up while you're using this. So we're just going to put it in here and call it good. And maybe these are just extras. It looks like there's already a screw in here. So we're just going to take this out. Oddly, they did not show this step in the instructions, so it just showed you taking off the main one there, but looks like there's already a screw in my port here, so we're just going to go with the flow and push that down and put that screw. Well, let's see, let's just use the one we prepped, right? It's got a washer in it, so we'll see if that washer is needed. Again, the instructions are just okay. They're not great. So we're just going to screw this in. Well, I'm going to try behind the camera. This is a pain in the butt. So we're going to try to get this back in here. And it'd be nice if this was a magnetic screwdriver that they supply, but it's not. And this is not like a Phillips or anything like that. This has got its own little I don't want to say it's a star, but it's definitely not a standard screwdriver, right? So it's not like I'm running out and getting my screwdrivers to do this little work here. Alright, so we've now fixed that on there, I think. Like a little spot. Okay, there we go. 2280 installed. So then basically what we're going to come back here and do is put our lid back on, and this is basically, like I said, our heatsink. So we're just going to line it up here. So there we go. Put that bad boy in first like that, and then we're just going to put our screw back in. I'll tell you, trying to do this by the camera, it's just all sorts of fun. And I'm not left-handed, and I'm doing this left-handed so you guys can see on the camera. Get that just a little tighter, a little tighter. There we go. And now you can't see it. It's under the main board. I didn't want to scratch the tempered glass while I was pushing down on it, so you might want to leave the little screen protector on until you're done doing your install, just so you don't scratch up your tempered glass. So there you go. We are ready to rock and roll. So let's go ahead and load these bad boys up, and we'll be right back to show you some good data. Alright guys, welcome back. So what we have done is we have plugged in both of these to my MacBook Pro. And again, thanks to the sponsor Kingston for the storage in this video. I did buy the DockCase stuff for transparency, so these are my own purchases. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the first thing you're going to see when you plug this one in, it wants to be formatted. Okay, so here's our little LCD screen, and basically it's got a QR code that says, I cannot find the partition, please format the disk, restart disk after format. So this one is waiting for an activity on the PC to get it up and running. We have plugged in our, whoops, it's upside down, we've plugged in our hub, and basically right now it's got DC 15 watt 5 volt 3 amp highlighted, basically saying, hey, that's what's going on here, and everything else is kind of grayed out because we don't have anything else plugged into it, right? And I can push this D button. Basically it's just going to reset it, I guess. Yeah, this one just resets. So not a lot going on here on this one here, but let's just go ahead and let's use our power delivery port. We're just going to take this and we're going to plug this in, and this should pass through and charge our MacBook, and we'll get a port. There we go. And it says charging, and the MacBook just went under charge. So this says it's 30 watt. Let's see. The PD is 15 watt, 15 volt, 1 amp. So that's what it's delivering, is 15 watt, 1 amp. And IN 30 watt dock, 15 watt. So let me see. Let's try to use the D button again here and see if I can get any more detail on that one. Nope, just going to reset it. Okay. And again, comes up. No HDMI signal. Plug in a monitor. And then nothing for Ethernet. Nothing for any of the 5 gig ports. But let's change that. Let's take this Micro Center USB-A and plug it in here. And now we start to flash, and we've got USB 3.0 5 gig port lit up. Of course there's nothing going on, so it's basically just saying, hey, it's being utilized. So let's go ahead. We're going to come back. I'm going to format this partition over here and get this bad boy up and running just a little bit more. We'll be right back. Alright, so we formatted this. Now I formatted it as exFAT, which means it will be compatible with multiple devices, not just Mac. And now we're plugged in. I had to unplug this, and once it come up, it saw the partition that we created. And now it basically says that it's got 7-second PLP ready, 960 gig, NVMe, 100 gigabits per second. The life expectancy, so basically this tracks the health of your SSD, and we all know SSDs have a lifespan. Just because it's flash and the way data is written and deleted and stored, it basically can expire an SSD. So this actually tells you how long it's got. And then it's got, let's see, GPT partition 2, so it tells you how it's partitioned. Now I've loaded up our disk speed test. I've selected this guy, so what we're going to do is we're just going to start that. And now this goes into a, hey, data is transferring, do not plug out. So basically it says, I'm in use, don't unplug me, right? And as you can see, let's look at the speeds. We're getting about 740 megabytes per second write, and a little less on the read. I would actually expect a little bit better on the reads. 552, not bad. 772 write, 532 read on that test. So yeah, we're definitely cranking here. So let's go ahead and stop our speed test. And now we should stabilize here. All data is done, and now we're back into the status and everything here of our drive. So that's pretty kick butt. Alright, let's go back to the hub. I'll stick that behind. And now our hub here, we have plugged in a drive. So let's go see, make sure our Finder sees our drive. Well, let's see. Let's just do File, select Target Drive. I'm not seeing our drive, so let's go ahead and unplug. We'll plug this back in. And hopefully, yep, USB disk. So now we can see our disk. No, I don't want to back up to it. But we are going to select this USB disk as our target. Okay, and we're just going to start the speed test here. And you can see a lot slower on this guy. Look at that. We're getting 63 writes. We haven't even got into the reads yet. So now this is a USB 1. No, this is USB 3.1 32 gig drive. So I don't know what gen it is, but it's definitely slower than obviously our SSD, right? So you can really see the difference on these bad boys, how these work. This is still writing. Look how slow that is. But we're just highlighted here saying that that's working. So, and there we go. It's reading at 100. Definitely slower. And we are power pass-through. Remember, we're charging up here. So we're passing through power. And if I was to plug in a screen, I would get plug-in monitor, and if I was to plug in Ethernet, I would get all that information there as well. So let's go ahead and stop this test. So as you can see, two really kick-butt solutions here from DockCase. We'll just put them both down here. Ooh, look at that. That looks like a thumbnail waiting to happen. Yeah, that's pretty kick butt. So anyway, I'll have links in the show notes for both of these DockCase solutions. They're really, really cool. Again, very functional, high quality, and close to top of the line when it comes to enclosures for SSDs and hubs when it comes to the latest and greatest technology out there for USB and that kind of stuff. And interesting, my enclosure just went into a data, so something was checking on it, right? If you like this video, guys, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the show, and as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.